attracted to thrill-seeking and dangerous activities like skydiving or bungee jumping or extreme sports?
No,
Why not?
because I'm terrified of them.
Nah, I don't do good with that stuff. I do roller coasters, that's it.
So you have friends who are into risk-seeking activities.
Yeah, they're crazier than I am.
What do you think attracts them to stuff like that?
They're crazy. They don't care. They're not scared. I don't know.
I like the rides at Seaside, like anything crazy, and I like the thrill of it.
Jumping out of a plane seems like a rush.
Yeah, I'd say that sounds pretty exciting. It's something I'd do.
I like roller coasters and surfing, skateboarding, and all that kind of stuff.
Football and driving cars.
Basically anything.
Yeah.
What do you like about them?
Oh, they're just like endangering. Sometimes they're sports.
The same reason I do, just to see what's gonna happen.
Something new. Mostly the adventure, like heart-pounding stuff. If you're gonna get in trouble.
The thrill, the rush.
Just something, it gives you a thrill. There's not, there's all kinds of things in this world that'll get you moving. It's something that'll get your heart pounding. I think it's something exciting.
I'll try anything once if it looks fun, and hopefully it won't kill me.
So, Catherine, you ever wanted to, jump out of an airplane?
No. What about you, Jack?
Well, I must say, I thought about it a lot, like jumping out of airplanes and stuff, but not without a parachute. Fast cars, roller coasters, extreme sports, and other similar thrill-seeking and risk-taking behavior are part of our culture.
Are you or any of your friends risk takers?
To what extent will we go to get that rush?
Risk taking and how our faith can shape the way we think about it. That's what we'll be talking about today. Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine.
And I'm Jack.
And this is Realfaith TV. Many of the teens on the street said they enjoyed thrill-seeking activities.
One girl said she would try anything once.
We'll talk with them again later in the show and also meet our spotlight guest, Steven, who considers himself a risk taker.
But first, let's meet our studio guests and find out if they get a rush out of taking risks.
They are Aiden, Zoe, Ian, Jessica, and Lauren.
So are you guys risk takers?
I'm gonna have to say no. Sorry.
I think I am. I'll try anything once, just to try it.
I like the occasional risk, something that looks fun, I'll try it.
I've been skydiving and bungee jumping, so I guess I would say yes, but I'm kind of a cautious risk taker.
I'm also cautious, but I'll do the occasional risky sport like skateboarding or something like that.
Yeah, I'll do controlled risks like roller coasters, skydiving, bungee jumping, stuff like that. But when it comes to insane jump off buildings, stuff like that, yeah, no thank you.
Oh man, that'd be fun though.
Yeah, I'm really not a risk taker. I'd like to say I was because it's kind of cool, but I'm definitely not. Our spotlight guest, Steven, admits that he is attracted to edgy activities.
But it wasn't always that way. When he was younger, he was actually afraid of thrill-seeking activities.
Let's go to his story now.
I am attracted to thrill-seeking sports and activities like skydiving, bungee jumping, and all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that really excites me, gets me going. When I was younger, I was fearful of doing those extreme activities. I never actually started skiing. I never tubed until I was older because I was always somewhat afraid of what might happen. I just stuck to those original sports, those traditional sports. But as I got over, I sort of conquered those fears more and more. What I like about those kind of, I guess you would say, edgy or risky activities is it sort of gets your heart racing a little bit, and you sort of have to conquer your own fear. I think I like that because sometimes I can be somewhat timid and fearful, but just that's not how I really want to be. I want to be adventurous. Something inside me just wants to do that kind of stuff. So to actually take the time and go do that kind of stuff and really get over those fears is one of my favorite things to do. One of the biggest risks I've taken, I guess, is when I jumped off a 65-foot cliff up at Lake George, just upstate New York. It's like you stand out on the edge of it and you sort of have to work your way down to it, and you're on this ledge, no more than a few inches wide. You can only get about 1 foot on it, and once you're there, you can't go back. So you just got to go ahead and do it. And when you're looking down, you see like this rock that's like another 15 feet out into the water, and you have to clear that. So it's pretty scary looking at it, but I got over it, and now I just do it. It's fun. There are definitely you know, injuries that can happen that can be a result. So definitely fear enters the equation, but I guess because the majority of people do not get hurt, you can sort of, I can get myself over it and go ahead and do it.
Well, about that 65-foot cliff, I don't know if I would do it. Maybe if it was a good day, you know, if I was feeling good about myself, I might take the plunge, you know, see how it felt, but most of the time, no.
I'd only do it if I was provoked. Otherwise, there's no way you could get me to jump off a cliff. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Catherine. You know, if my friends call me a wimp, maybe, you know, because I'm pretty stubborn like that. So it's like, otherwise, definitely not.
I would definitely consider that. That'd be a lot of fun, just taking a run and jump and just pray to God you don't hit the rock.
If I was getting money for it, I would do it.
Yeah, money sounds good.
Yeah, I'd probably do it if there was a bigger landing space.
Fear Factor and Survivor are just two examples of reality shows that have contestants participating in risky behavior to win a grand prize.
So what makes these shows so popular? Why are people lined up to audition for them?
It's because they perform the stunts that everyone in the world really, really wants to do, and it's supervised by professionals, so you're going to get as safe as you can possibly get. And it's just basically like, who wouldn't want to slide down the Luxor in Las Vegas and try and get as many flags as you can? I mean, I would love to do that. That'd be awesome.
And there's always the money, too.
Yeah, the money factor that I was talking about earlier.
People get to prove themselves, and it's like they're filmed on TV, so people have that kind of incentive for fame, and you know, I guess it just appeals to a lot of people.
It might be that 5 minutes of glory.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
15 minutes of fame. Next, Stephen tells us why he thinks extreme sports are so popular today, and also why they aren't for everyone.
I think the age that we're in now, and as we're growing up, the things that interested our parents and as they saw as a good time have sort of become boring and ancient. And the stuff that we want to do now is more crazy and all these extreme sports become more and more popular. And I think now it's just everyone wants to push the envelope, push the limit, to do more and more stuff, you know, to claim that title, say I did the craziest thing. My group of friends that, you know, that we hang out together and that I'm surrounded with, we like to do the same kind of stuff. And if there's one guy who's not, we usually get him to do it anyhow. Sometimes death or serious injury can be a result. Don't do things, you know, out of peer pressure. There's actually this story I just heard on the radio today about a young kid in Florida who was peer pressured to jump off a cliff, and he actually just passed away. He hit some rocks or something. So definitely do not do things if it's not in your personality to do those kind of things. Like, it's in my personality to go and do those things. But if it's not in your personality, if you're just comfortable, you know, sitting at home and you know, just relaxing, then definitely don't be peer pressured and to do those kind of things. But if that is, you know, your kind of a thing and that gets you going, then definitely just look at the consequences and make sure it's worth it, you know, and don't push the envelope too much.
I agree with Stephen that you have to look at the consequences.
Yeah, anytime the consequences can be harmful to you or another person, you should carefully consider whether the benefit is really worth the risk.
And you also have to be careful because sometimes thrill-seeking can become an addiction.
It is possible to develop a kind of dependency to the adrenaline rush that you experience from certain activities.
Like any addiction, it can cloud your judgment as it becomes your highest priority, replacing all other things that are important to you.
Have any of you been in a position when your friends were pressuring you into doing something that was risky?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, for instance, where I work at a pool. So it's always when we have the pool all to ourselves after, or say there's no one in the lap pool, it's who can do the coolest stunt off the diving board. And I don't really like landing on my stomach because it hurts just a little bit. So I try to avoid that. But otherwise, I try and do some pretty cool things off that.
I know I was with my friends and we always do some crazy stuff, and we're at my friend's house and you can go from like the roof of his house into his pool.
That's
It's a pretty
awesome.
deep pool though, but so we were like jumping off the roof into the pool because like they had done it before and they're like, come on, you gotta try it.
That's
So I
so
did,
cool.
and it was awesome, but.
Risky.
My friends have pressured me to do, you know, risky things not towards like my health or physical, you know, but like maybe risking my reputation or my self-respect more than, you know, other things.
I think it also depends, you know, like he said, if you're a person who really likes taking, you know, big risks or whatever, then you might be more confident and it might be easier for you to do it. But if you're pressuring someone else to do it and they like panic in the middle because they're not focused on what they want to do, then that can be so dangerous to that person. So it's really true what he said, that, you know, if it's something you want to do, then weigh the consequences, but don't pressure other people into doing, because that could really be dangerous.
Yeah. Sometimes the risk you're thinking of taking conflicts with your values.
Even though Stephen considers himself a risk taker, there are some risks he's not willing to take.
He tells us about this next, and also why he feels that standing up for your Christian beliefs and values can be a form of risk-taking.
There's two kinds of physical risks, I believe, you know, like with your body and jumping off stuff and doing all that kind of jazz. And then there's the drugs and the alcohol, which also affects your body in different ways. And those are different kind of risky or edgy activities that can have very harmful effects. I don't believe that it's good to take those kinds of risks. You know, I'll admit that over time I've definitely done my share and tried them. But in the end, it leaves you empty. It may get your heart, you know, pump and get your rev for a little bit, but it's not that pure kind of fun, not that pure kind of enjoyment that you're looking for. The next day, you know, it leaves you sick and it leaves you hungover and it leaves you unhappy and unfulfilled. Being a Christian can also be a kind of risk-taking, because it often involves going against the flow, being different, which is not an easy thing to do. And just like when you're standing up on that cliff and your heart's pumping and you're ready to go, but there's just that little bit holding you back, it can also be the same in our Christian life when you're presented with one of those situations and you have to stand up for your faith when you're being, you know, or you're being compromised, or you're being tempted to, you know, try that new drug or go drinking and go to that party. And that courage that you have when you're going to jump off that cliff or, you know, jump out of that plane, that same courage that you need to do that can also be used to defend yourself, to stand up for what you believe in when you're faced with those troubles out in the real world with your friends. So it can often be a risk in the same way, and you need that same courage to help you through that as well.
There's a big difference between jumping out of a plane after you've taken the necessary safety measures and taking drugs. That's a risk I'm not willing to take either.
I know I'm not willing to take the risk of being in the situation where I'd be drinking and then needing to drive. Like when I'm older, I know I'm not willing to ever put myself in that position.
Yeah, it's like there's a big difference between, you know, being a NASCAR racer where, you know, it's a supervised activity, and then, you know, drag racing on a street at 2 in the morning. You know, there's such a big difference between, you know, the risk there. They're both risky, but in completely, you know, opposite ways.
And it's all about being smart about it. If you're not smart about it, that's how you get in trouble and that's how you get hurt. But if you are smart about it and you take the necessary precautions, then you're going to have the kind of fun that you really want to have and be able to basically enjoy it as much as you possibly can.
There's a specific time and place that you should be taking risks, but if you take them like when there's no safety precautions or anything, then it's just inappropriate.
Yeah, like Aiden said, there is a specific time and place. You know, like a firefighter going to save people in a burning building, you know, that's a risk, but so is drinking and driving and smoking. One is, you know, noble, and the other one is just reckless and irresponsible.
Are there any other times when you think risk-taking can be bad?
Well, when you're at a party or something and everyone's drinking and smoking, and they ask you if you want to participate in that, that's a risk.
And it's a risk in many ways, such as it's a risk to your health, but also if you get caught doing it, it's a risk to what's going to happen to you later on in life. And it just goes to show that you're willing to do anything. It might be for attention, but it also shows that you're willing to make bad choices, and that's not something that you want to be known for.
Right, another risk I'm not willing to take is gambling. Like Texas Hold'em is kind of so popular among my friends, and they ask me to play it like every week. And every week I'm like, no, I don't want to like waste my money because I know I'm just going to lose. It's kind of like addiction. Like they're playing it like twice a week, and I don't think they realize how bad it is.
Yeah.
I think oh, go ahead.
I think another activity that would be risky is anything where you risk like a friendship or, you know, a reputation, because that could hurt you emotionally, which could also lead to physical pain.
I think like any risk where you're responsible for other people, you know what I mean? Like if you're a parent and you're gonna go out and take risks, you know, like jumping off a 65-foot cliff or something like that. I mean, that's like irresponsible and everything. I don't think you should do that.
Yeah, you don't want to like disappoint the people around you. If, you know, when you take a risk and it fails, then you're kind of, you know, left with hurting people around you, and that's not something you should be willing to risk.
Yeah. Stephen said that being a Christian is like being a risk taker. Have you ever thought about it that way?
A little bit, because some people will be saying, oh, you go to church, you waste your time this, you waste your time doing that. And I say, no, because it kind of makes me feel better that I believe in something, and I have a strong belief for my religion, so it makes me feel good to be proud of the religion that I have.
I think you're risking like more social stuff, you know what I mean? Like you can sometimes be risking friends or popularity and stuff like that, but like that's a risk I'm willing to take. And it's just kind of like sometimes if people are inviting you to a party or something and you know there's going to be drinking or something at the party, you say, I'm not going to go. I mean, sometimes people look down on you for that, but you know, it's part of your faith and everything.
Yeah, and I really liked what he said about how being a Christian means you take the risk of going against what's really common, and you put yourself out there as someone kind of different than what's normal and generally accepted. Are there any other connections between our faith and risk-taking?
Can our faith shape the way we think about it?
And how does our image of God as a protector enter into our decisions about thrill-seeking and risk-taking?
That's what we ask the teens on the street.
Let's check it out.
Do you see God as a partner in your safety, or don't you think about it?
I do. And I think about it sometimes.
I don't think about it. Like once in a while maybe, but not really.
Yeah, once in a while when you're like really in danger, then yeah.
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
I don't think about it that much actually.
I think God looks out for my safety.
I guess you could say it's a partner in my safety. I have to ask him for help from time to time, because I tend to believe that we all have a fate and that it's either going to be my time or it's not going to be my time, so I'm not going to worry about it. It's just going to have to go along with it.
Psalm 18 reads, "The Lord is my protector. He is my strong fortress.
My God is my protection, and with him I am safe.
He protects me like a shield."
He defends me and keeps me safe.
Do you think this means that God will protect you from harm in every circumstance?
No, I don't, because he gave us the option of free will. And with that, we can make our own decisions, and we decide how we handle each and every risk. So with that being said, he can guide us and he can give us his wisdom, but it's up to us to follow through the way we want to, and that determines how safe we are when we're performing what we're doing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Ian said. I think God protects us by giving us the option not to do something that's dangerous. So.
Yeah, it's like my friend has something in her car and it says, never drive faster than your guardian angel can fly. So it's the same kind of principle where we have to take responsibility for our actions. So yes, God will always be there to protect us, but at the same time, you know, if we're too risky, then we're taking, we have to suffer the consequences if anything bad should happen.
Right, because with free will comes the desire to make reckless decisions, and because they are just that, reckless, you can't guarantee that you'll be all right after you take those kind of risks.
It's true. No matter what activities we pursue, God is always with us.
He does not abandon us, even when we make foolish choices.
Next, Stephen tells us how he feels God close to him, even when he's jumping off cliffs or having other kinds of adventures.
I mean, when you look at the extreme side of things, saying doing something risky that could involve really getting injured or even death, you know, obviously my faith comes into play there, because, you know, that could be the end, you know. Definitely when I'm about to do something real risky, I definitely say, you know, a quick prayer, and I definitely think that God's there, and he can definitely, I know his angels are there, you know, my guardian angel, whatever. When I was younger, your mom always say your guardian angel is there. I guess, you know, when you're about to do something like that, it always comes back to mind that he's, you know, all powerful, and he'll be able to save you or help you in whatever situation. As I've gotten older and I've developed more and more of a prayer life, it's allowed me to feel closer and closer to God. And when you delve deeper into prayer and you realize that God is there all the time, you know, when you're in prayer, when you're at school, when you're hanging out, and he's really there all the time protecting you. When you go out to do those kinds of activities, you know, that are edgy, adventurous, you definitely have that realization in your mind that he's always there. Yeah, when I was jumping off the cliff, I used to wear a cross, and when you jump off the cliff, the air used to push it up, and I used to hold it in my mouth so I didn't lose it. And that was a very small thing, but it was more what it symbolized to me. You know, I felt like I had God right there, and it was a little bit of safety, and he would protect me as I did it. I felt that he was real close, and I couldn't get injured.
You know, whenever I take what I consider to be risks, I know I carry my grandpa's old medals as kind of a reminder of my faith, but I'm not so sure that I'd be holding a cross in my mouth if I was jumping off a cliff. It kind of seems like he thought that would keep him from getting hurt.
Yeah, you don't want to think that just because you're wearing, you know, like a cross or a religious medal that you're invincible, because, you know, wearing one or not, there's still the same kind of risk of being hurt or other kind of consequences as any other person.
You know, I definitely agree, like, using the cross as a good luck charm is, like, not good. But, you know, I kind of got more of the sense that he was using it as a reminder of his faith and a reminder that he was protected, you know, that if something were to happen, you know, he would go to heaven or whatever, so.
So does your relationship with God have any effect on whether you take risks or not?
It definitely does. First of all, in the 10 Commandments, one of them is thou shalt not steal. You don't take that risk because, first of all, you could get into some really big trouble. And then there's thou shalt not kill, and so on and so forth. But it's the fact that your religion sets down these guidelines, and with those guidelines, it shows that if you take those risks, you could get into some really deep trouble.
Yeah, God definitely prevents me from doing stupid things. Like, just like what Steven said, how he's always, like, in the back of your mind. Like, that's so true. He's like that nagging voice, and I'll be at, like, a party or something, and I just know, like, not to do something. He almost, like, leads me to the right people, I think.
Well, I'm always like, WWJD, what would Jesus do? You know, I don't think I'd find Jesus doing this. I mean, like, based on the stories of Jesus in the Gospels, would you expect to find him, like, skydiving or bungee jumping with his friends?
Well, I think it depends on the motivation. Like, if it was to help people believe and to trust him, you know, and to see his God, to teach them, then possibly, you know, not just to be reckless.
He did walk on water. That's one way. That's one way to prove it.
He's a big risk taker. I think he would. You know, he was a leader.
Jesus gave his followers, too, a lot of moral guidelines, so it's kind of something where you're looking at Christian morality and you're able to apply it to life. So if you think of something that's really risky, but then you look at, you know, the morals that Jesus gave us and you realize, you know, this really isn't something that's appropriate, it's not something that's good for you to do.
You kind of have to think that if God would do it, then I should be following it, and so it's kind of like you're being a role model for other people. So yeah, you're kind of acting out what God did, and so other people will look up to you and see like a little piece of God and want to follow that out.
Yeah, because like a part of our religion is trying to be, you know, more godlike. So if, you know, we do what he wants us to do, you know, not like he's controlling us, but, you know, just kind of follow our religion, be good people, and not be reckless, then maybe more people will pay attention to the religion.
And then if other people don't want to take risks, then you're giving them that opportunity where they don't have to take it because there's someone else who's, you know, standing up and saying, I'm not going to succumb to any kind of peer pressure.
But you know, I think God wants us to take some risks. And some risks are really, I guess some people could call them reckless, but without those kind of, without big, I guess without taking big chances, no real change could ever come around in the world. Like, you know, beginning civil rights, that took a huge risk. No one probably thought it would work, but it takes that kind of riskful thinking. And that's given from God.
Some risks are necessary.
Some risks are thrilling experiences without any uncommon potential for harm.
Though these activities might seem extreme to some, to others they are a celebration of the good things in life that are available to us.
God smiles at our enjoyment of healthy pursuits.
The Gospel of John, chapter 10, reads, "I came so that they might have life and have it more abundantly."
Do you get enjoyment from risk-taking activities? We want to know.
Contact us through our website.
The address is www.realfaithtv.com.
Or you can call us at 609-406-7402.
Here's one final thought. There isn't anything wrong with having a little fun and taking a few risks.
But remember that our faith teaches us that humans were made with a desire for God.
No thrill or adventure can ever be a substitute for a vibrant relationship with God.
Or fill the place in each of us that only God can fill.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time on Real Faith TV.
God bless.